not doing streaming.
Using
Well, sometimes it's finicky and then we will not start on time.
You don't have to.
I do. It's my job. Okay, we're live. Everybody signed in, right? Everybody.
Alright, there we are. Excellent connection.
Yes.
Got 30 more seconds and we'll start.
The screen. Well, do you want to see yourselves, or there's nothing really?
Don't
that
want
I
to see
can-
another guy up there.
There's nothing I can really.
I don't
show
think we
you.
should go down the politics.
There's nothing I
route.
can show you on the screen besides this.
You can actually show that. That'd be actually kind of neat.
Do you want to see it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you can put
Well,
it.
all the audience would.
Yeah. This way, you know,
Okay, no problem.
the more approachable and friendly.
That's no problem.
Maybe she'll just an answer.
Probably be in the initial submission, I guess. Is that
Don't worry about it. Let it go.
this is not right. What is this one dated?
Too.
Oh, I know I could go to the website.
This was.
I have it in.
Yeah. Where's the date? Where's the date?
Corner.
Yeah, there it is. Here it is.
2023.
Date and then the
Uh,
revision
that's,
dates.
Up there, revision date.
So that's
Is that the original date?
October,
Okay.
I guess, of last year.
Yep.
Oops.
Train's coming.
Alright, that's the same one that you have. I'm close enough.
Very pretty.
Alright, I think we're ready.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the May 14th, 2024 Village of Warwick Planning Board meeting. First thing we will do is rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kristen, you want to do the roll call?
Okay, so we have Scott Brown.
Yep.
We have Terry Boland.
Here.
We have Jesse Gallo.
Here?
We have Bill Olson.
Right here?
We have Brian Barber.
Present.
And we have Jean filling in for Keith Woodruff. And also we have Liz, our attorney, Liz Cassidy.
Okay, great. So, and I think just Vanessa, the alternate, is
She's absent.
So the first item on the agenda is the acceptance of last month's April 9th, 2024 minutes. Did everybody have a chance to review?
I read them. I move we accept the minutes as written.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have to abstain, I was absent.
Aye as well. So, that's good there. And first application, the only application on the agenda today is M&L Equity Auto.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Bob Krahulik, attorney for the applicant. And with me is Paula Duke, who is a member of M&L Equity Auto, also known as the Warwick Car Wash.
So I think the last time we were here was in October of last year.
That's right. So since that visit, we appeared before the Zoning Board of Appeals to get variances needed in order to complete a subdivision of the residential lot next door. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the application, I call this a bit of housekeeping. For years, I should say decades, the car wash has utilized the rear portion of Vanessa Mann's property for traffic flow. Snow is stockpiled there in the winter time, and it just allows more comfortable access to get around the back of the building as you approach the entrance to the car wash. Building inspector approached my client and said, technically that piece of property is zoned residential. I'd like to see you go to the village board, get a zone change. And so my client was willing to do so at great expense. In order to obtain a zone change, we need to complete a subdivision, annex that residential lot to the car wash piece of property, and obtain a change in the zoning classification for that parcel from residential to light industrial. As we sit here tonight, one of the things we're asking for is some direction from the board on how to proceed. My vision toward a path of completion would be to hopefully obtain conditional approval from the planning board on the subdivision, making it conditioned on our ability to get the zoning classification changed on the lot before the village board. If we're successful there, we satisfy the condition. That would then empower the chairman of the planning board to sign the map, and we could complete the subdivision.
And that's consistent with the zoning board, with their decision, correct?
That's definitely consistent with the ZBA, yes.
This was prompted by the building inspector, as I recall, is that right?
That's correct.
As a cleanup.
That's correct. This has been going on since at least the late 80s. We have lease agreements where we have, our predecessors have been leasing this land from the Mann family for years and years. So we haven't been taking advantage of her. We haven't been trespassing. It's been a legal arrangement, just not in full compliance with the zoning code. So we're trying to clean that up for the benefit of the building department and for my client, because someday I'm sure he's going to want to retire. When he goes to sell, he doesn't want to have any problems cropping up at the last minute.
That's one question I had was on the I wondered if we have on the record somewhere in the past the approval that's necessary for vehicle service in light industrial.
So I overheard you talking about that. I was whispering with my client. He says, yes, he has approvals for the work that was done there. There was also an addition actually added to the back of that building. We'd have to do some research to get that paperwork for you, but that just wasn't changed overnight. That was done under permits.
Good. Glad to hear that. We should probably check just to make sure. But the
We'll have to visit Maureen's garage and see.
I was, my concern was just that with that labeled that way on the plan, that if we approve it as a site plan, that it may de facto approve the C-class use.
No, we can reference any prior approvals as part of the approval.
If it makes a difference, we could eliminate the classification of this building altogether and just leave it blank.
It requires redrawing the plans, which is almost
We-
as much of a mess as.
Well,
just-
we have some technical changes to make anyway, so.
Yeah, they have to make some changes to
Oh,
the
okay.
plan anyway, so.
And it's this building here, you have vehicle service areas in there too. So it's in two different buildings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if it was actually, if the process was followed and there's approvals on the record somewhere, that's. doesn't
That
make
the
it-
subdivision doesn't alter those approvals and we reference them by date. We can take care of that.
Wait, the request is to have a subdivision here, with these two lots, right? And then this lot will still say as residential.
Correct.
No, well,
Right?
We can't change that.
We
we
can't
can't
change that.
change that.
It's
He's
residential
asking
now.
as a condition of our approval,
Can-
that we condition it on the
And the
village
village
boards
could-
accepting.
And if they don't,
If they don't, the subdivision would become, we wouldn't sign the
We won't.
plat. We wouldn't sign the plat.
so
And
why don't we
everything would
just
stay
wait
the
until
way
that's
it-
done? Why don't we?
Well,
it
because
was-
then he can say that the planning board has reviewed this
Well, we can.
and I see where Mr. Krahulik is going, and I don't necessarily have an objection to that plan. The other question becomes, when you tie into that, is from a seeker perspective.
That's true.
The zoning board of appeals was able to type to it because it was area variance and not anything, so it was an area variance. It's an unlisted action for us for part of the subdivision. We can take two paths, and I defer to Mr. Krahulik which path he'd like to take. Choose your own adventure. We can do a coordinated review where we do where we declare our intent to do lead agency. We circulate that to the village board. They would have an opportunity to say, no, we want to do it, or you can do it. We would then have one seeker review,
That's-
conclude that seeker review. Both boards could rely on that seeker review. I don't think it's a heavy lift to begin
No.
with, but it's more of a process. And then I don't care which it's one half dozen another if we do the conditional versus the other way around. I think for Mr. Krahulik's perspective, if we do our portion first, the site is set. In terms of all of this is set. Because theoretically, the village board could approve it and then you could theoretically deny it.
Right.
Eh,
And then Mrs. Mann is stuck with a piece of commercial property behind her.
So I can see,
House.
I would do the subdivision first too. Subject to.
This is, we're not doing a subdivision.
We are,
This is a subdivision. This-
we have
this-
to
this-
because it's making this lot
That, yes.
more non-conforming.
Yes,
And that was in Mr. Dickover's memo that we could
Right.
process this as a
Right.
lot line change.
Which is a very unique code provision, by the way. That's uncommon. Not allowing a lot line change
to make a.
if one of the lots ends up smaller and
Right.
non-conforming.
It was already non-conforming?
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
It was
So-
just, it
so
just
it's
made it more non-conforming.
More non-conforming. Pre-existing non-conforming, make it less,
Right.
more non-conforming.
Make a note of that for the code review process.
Yes.
Coming.
Now, some codes don't even have a lot line in you doing a subdivision. Regardless, it depends on what your code is.
While we're talking about the ZBA, shouldn't the ZBA variance be included on
I think
the?
that's one of
Yeah,
the
that's
one of our
comments.
Oh,
which we'll
okay,
get to.
please do.
I guess might as well go
I
over
couldn't read it.
maybe
Oh, you
some
wanna
of
go through?
Keith's comments
Sure.
there.
So, asking for the name and address of the adjoining property owner, to the north of the property is to be listed on the plan. Existing utilities, are there any utilities located with the proposed transfer parcel? And the surveyor's certification needs to be on here since this is, a subdivision plan. And I would also note that these two images will not be able to be filed with the county clerk's office. So
Okay.
these are gonna have to be changed. Change the name to a subdivision plan instead of a site plan. The zoning data table should be revised to indicate the lot depth of the Mann property will be reduced. Right now it's shown as the same depth in the existing and proposed.
Okay.
Zoning data table should be revised to list specific variances obtained from the ZBA at the March 26th meeting. Number 2, the site plan indicates that the gravel area extends past the Mann property onto a portion of lot 210-11-4. So I'm not gonna try to pronounce that last name property. Dryhaft? Is it? Okay. The applicant's representative stated at the October meeting that their intention is to remove this encroachment. The site plan should be revised to detail the removal and the remediation of this area.
Will do.
Properties are located within the 100-year floodplain and regulated floodway of the Wayanda Creek, but because no construction is proposed, an application for the flood hazard area is not required. But we should note in the short EAF that we are in the floodplain. And then the last comment is, as identified within the ZBA decision, condition number 2, the portion of the property being transferred to Elm Street shall only be permitted under the village zoning code whereby the use of the car wash is not permitted within the R district. Now, applicants are addressed, which we have already done. But the, yeah, it's not listed in here, but the ZBA variance should be listed
Here's
on
somewhere
the-
here.
Yep.
Or here.
That's
Yeah,
all.
right.
And the only couple of comments I have is the application should be classified as a minor subdivision pursuant to 120-5. Prior to filing the approved plat, applicant to provide deed and Schedule A meets and bounds description for review. I'm gonna not repeat the already there. Seeker, it's an unlisted action, EAF comments, applicant to submit the EAF mapper to be attached, and the EAF I reviewed was missing a blank on number 16. And then plan comments, board to evaluate buffering of LI use from adjoining residential as part of the plan. And so the next, we just have to pick whether we're doing coordinated or uncoordinated, so that we can either declare ourselves to be lead agency for an uncoordinated review or declare our intent and do the circulation.
That's a good point about buffering. There should be buffering here, right?
Per the code,
You just have,
So Paul, describe what's there right now, because there is some.
it just says a wooden
That
guide
man
rail,
property? Yes.
You should have-
Yeah,
you
she
should-
wanted that.
but you need scenic buffering.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't think she, I mean, she wants it, that's fine, but I don't think she wants anything there. She likes looking out.
yeah, so I guess the code
says, what's it?
specifies either 6-foot high privacy fence or some sort
Yeah.
of hedge along just to.
I mean, you could put something there, but it might last a year because every year that whole thing floods. If anybody's been back there, they've seen the water back there. So, but yeah, whatever we need to do with it, but
We're happy to do whatever you require. I would
Yeah.
suggest waiting until the public hearing. We'll make sure Ms. Mann is here so she can express exactly what she would like there. I think she likes being able to look down toward the creek,
yeah,
and Paul plans on allowing her free access so she can walk to the
town.
creek whenever she wants to.
You're not gonna be parking cars here?
There's
No,
cars right there, where, in the back?
Yeah, on this left
No,
you
it's
can
where
turn.
the cars going around.
Yeah, I know, but you see, don't be cars parked here and blocking their view?
No,
So-
It's a drive to get
Right,
around.
Take the drive, right.
To get
Car
around the
wash.
back end of the
But I
building.
think you
I
now
think we had
have,
seen a photo where there were cars.
There's some cars
Yeah,
over
the
here.
original.
They're
yeah,
stacked
all
up
over there.
Yeah,
Yep,
over
the
there.
whole- The whole fence.
Now, snow does get stockpiled way in the back here in the wintertime.
So now it's not just this man, obviously, but it's this property boundary here as well, because that's
That's the
residential
river.
on this side. Well, this person here.
dry out.
Yeah, so their property line goes all the way to the creek, I guess wherever that is, it looks like it's around here or so. So the buffering would be required along that.
I don't know if you could even
Line
put
as
it back
well.
here, because that whole thing's like on the water every year. Like if the water table just comes right up.
Alright, so we'll have to look at that, I guess, as far as what the
I don't even know what you could
possibility
really put
is to
there.
screen this.
Gravel area.
Because it's, I know maybe Miss Mann doesn't want it, but if she sells it in a year or 2 years, the new owners may not like that.
But there's nobody else back here though, because this house is not even part of it, right?
No,
This property line, right, their property line abuts yours,
Yeah.
these people here and the man's. Because now you're moving this property line here to
Yeah.
here. So now you're gonna have a neighbor here as well, not just Miss Mann. So it's this person as well, this dry hut is now gonna be your neighbor along this entire section of property.
So you're talking about landscaping along the property.
Well, the code does say there should be a buffer. It's either a fence, a 6-foot high privacy fence, or a natural buffer, whether that's hedge or evergreens or
And that's
arborvitae
specifically
or
because it's
shrubberies.
right. It's to screen
and residential.
between light industrial and residential. You know, it's noise, it's aesthetics, it's what have you. But that's up to discussion. Obviously, that's what we can discuss. But that's just what the code stipulates.
And the floodway line is, these are the elevations.
Yeah, their elevations, right?
Yeah, this one sort of dies here, but okay, well, So that's 505, 502.
Yeah, it
And-
drops
and-
down.
yeah. And should they be marking the flood zone?
Do they, is that a requirement? I mean, they're not providing any
Then-
construction in.
No, I know.
No, I mean, we probably should show it on the plan.
Mm-hmm. Should show it on plan. Yeah, I would thought so.
I mean, that
They're
would help
not,
the
they're not
discussion.
doing anything there, so it shouldn't be a problem, but, just for completeness on the plan.
And putting things like fences, that wouldn't really be an issue with.
Putting a fence in the floodplain.
Mm.
No, because I mean, as long as you're not changing the elevation, you're
Right.
not building it up to,
Yeah. You don't necessarily want to do that either. You don't want to put a fence up front,
right, which is why vegetation will work better.
depending on the vegetation, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Once the transfer were to happen, are there any designs on that property, or is it to stay as it is now?
Yeah, if it is. Unless they want a fence or
Yes.
just
Okay.
rose whatever.
So was the recommendation for us to do a coordinated review, or?
I think given the scope and scale of the project, it's one half dozen or another. It's not like we're doing a huge, expanded EAF for this purpose. Bob, what's your pleasure?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
It seems like it would be easier just for us to do it.
No. We would declare ourselves lead agency.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You want a motion?
Ready
If
for
someone
that?
would like to make that motion?
So,
A motion, like she says, for the coordinated thing.
I think there's some verbiage.
She'll speak
so
the
the
technical
question,
verbiage.
are we doing coordinated or uncoordinated?
So, looks
So
like the
we're
consensus.
The
declaring
coordinated,
ourselves
yeah.
lead agency, is that what
Okay,
we're
so
agreeing
then,
on?
then we will do seeker entirely on our own, and then the village
Uncoordinated.
board will do their own, an uncoordinated review. Okay. Since this is my first resolution with you guys, I do try to type stuff up in advance if I can get to it. So let me just, whereas the Village of Warwick Planning Board is in receipt of an application for subdivision for the purpose of achieving a lot line improvement between 42 Orchard Street and 18 Elm Street. Whereas a short environmental assessment form, EAF, dated May 8th, 2023, was received. Whereas after comparing the thresholds contained in 6 NYCRR 617.4 and 5, the planning board has determined that the proposed project is an unlisted action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and that now therefore be it further resolved that the planning board declares itself to be lead agency for purposes of seeker review, and further declares that this is an unlisted action appropriate for uncoordinated review. And then the next question, do you want to schedule the public hearing? While I'm reading,
It's a requirement, right?
yes.
Do we feel we have enough information this time to do it?
Are you guys ready for it too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that they're,
Because I can keep reading.
If
Yeah, I think
anybody
we
has any
should, I
objections.
think we
Right.
should go ahead.
I'll go ahead with that.
Be it further resolved that the planning board shall hold a public hearing on June 11th, is that the next? Okay. 2024 at 7:30 PM or soon thereafter, as the application may be heard at Village Hall, 77 Main Street, Warwick, New York, 10990. And the planning board clerk shall cause notice to be published in the official newspaper at least 5 days prior to said hearing.
Okay. Does somebody, I'm assuming we have to make that motion, correct?
Yes, please.
All right. So anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion to see, said it?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? None. Okay. Public hearing is set.
And I'll email this, I'll update it and email it to you so you can put it in minutes.
Okay, thank you.
So at that point, I guess we would want an updated, well, prior to, obviously, the meeting, an updated site
I'll
plan,
get that to you very quickly.
subdivision plan that we can post up there and on the websites and
We should be able to do the EAF at that meeting as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
The review.
Yeah. We would
Assuming you have
receive
it ready.
public comment on any environmental impacts, evaluate them, and then we would take seeker action, and then we could theoretically. Assuming there are no showstoppers that we're not aware of.
The public hearing before the ZBA was not controversial, so we don't expect any problems this time around either.
Did anyone show up?
Ms. Mann was there.
No, really.
All right, so I guess that's it for tonight.
Yep.
On
Right.
that application, anyway.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
I'm gonna take this with me and not lose, and put it in my file so I do have it.
So unless there's anything else to discuss or cover,
Move to adjourn.
is there a is there a motion to adjourn?
So before we adjourn real quickly, I wanna make sure that what I do works and flows with you guys, because I
Sure.
know it's a different style, so just let me know if style-wise it's working or not working, and we'll go from there.
So far, so good.
I appreciate the clarity, thank you.
You just need to work on the formatting of those reports. I'm just joking.
Yeah, I know the upload was weird, I'll PDF them for Kristen.
All right, so we had a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Someone's gotta do it.
But Brian's waving his hand.
Well, I said, yeah.
Oh, okay, I second that.
Okay,
Right.
yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 None opposed.
Okay. That means I will stop the stream.
It seems like a shame that has to be so complicated.
It is.
I know.
This is the law.